Ladies and gentlemen, or actually, ladies and creatures and gentlemen, happy Halloween. I'm saying happy Halloween. This episode is going to be coming out well after Halloween is already over, unfortunately. But as I'm talking now, we're filming it on October the 31st, which is Halloween. This is the podcast show for the average Joe, the Wrestling Diaries. I am your host, Mitchell Roulane. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and a host of other platforms that have audio podcast. Also, for the video content, go to YouTube, like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell right there for more content. We release our episodes once a week, the platforms twice a week, audio Tuesday, video Wednesday. And coming out now, my return guest, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Mohan Rengen. And the crowd goes wild for the doctor. Damn, Doc, it is so good to see you again. It really is.
Oh, great to see you, man. It's been way too long. And I can't believe I'm a repeat offender. That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Why would you not be? You're my pal. I know we haven't talked in ages or whatever, but hey, you know, I still got love for you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Me and
a lot. I've been following your work, and I'm really, really proud of you, man. I'm glad it's just taking off for you.
I appreciate it, man.
So
yeah, I don't know. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I feel like the sky's the limit. I feel like wherever we want to go with this is where we can go.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Me and the doc are sipping on some bourbon whiskey. Everybody, let's do a toast. I'm going to clink it to the TV screen here. Good old bourbon whiskey. Cheers. And happy Halloween, by the way.
Yeah, happy Halloween.
I said that on the introduction, but yeah, happy Halloween, man. You said you went to a Halloween party last night, huh?
I did, man. It was so much fun. They had a band. I'm gonna put a plug in for this band. They're from New Jersey. They're called the Toga Party,
mm-hmm.
And the guys all wear togas as they're playing, and their array of music, their genres goes from Frank Sinatra to Metallica and everything in between.
Oh wow!
They were great, and these guys were a little older, 50s, 60s, but jam. They were so awesome. Till the cops came and shut us down. Yeah, so like wow. one old neighbor just had enough of the music and decided to call the cops. And since there is a sound ordinance, they got shut down. So, but we had a ball.
Is it like in a? Yeah, is it like in a suburban neighborhood?
Yeah.
The suburbs, the subs, burbs.
Right, but there's townhouses back there and apartments and some condos, and it was probably just a little too much for some of the neighbors. But because the weather was kind of dicey, they had to move the show under a tent. So it actually kind of numbed the sound, but it didn't matter. People were complaining about it, so the cops came and shut us down.
Wow.
The guys were in their last.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've went to a couple soirees already prior to today, Halloween-esque parties and stuff like that. I think I might be going to one tonight. I really am not 100% sure, but a big one that I've got coming up in the future is a Viking party, and this thing is mother effing huge, my man. Like these two hotshot real estate agents here in Birmingham, this is their 13th annual Viking party. And people always wonder, well, wow, what's the deal with the Viking? I think the gentleman that owns the house that the party's at, he, in his fraternity, they were like Vikings or something like that. And they would have like a Viking-esque type frat party. And then when he got married to his wife, they were like, hey, why don't we do one for like the community? And then they've been going 13 years strong. They didn't do it last year because of COVID, but this year they returned. So this party's probably going to be huge. And I'm actually going to host an episode of the Wrestling Diaries, ladies and gents, at this event. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Ooh, yeah, probably just right outside of 500 people. Just right outside that number. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and they expect a big turnout just because they didn't do it last year, and so everybody's wanting to, they missed it and they want to get back into it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't want to tell too much about it. So if anybody's listening to this, they can just have to tune into the episode that will have me dressed up in some fancy garb, and I'll be going around. We actually are setting up a room, and I want to tell you what it looks like, but it's going to be themed because of the party's Viking.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just bring people in for quick little interviews, quick wrestling diary interviews. Not like this, not like an hour long back and forth, shooting the breeze and then getting deep with the person, but like, just like a quick little interview, and it'll probably be, I don't know, a handful of people on there. And then I'll probably also go around and show the party and the festivities and the, all that jazz.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's a great opportunity, man. There's going to be a lot of big wigs there.
Cool.
A lot of people. This my friend is a real estate agent. She's like, yeah, there's some people that I really want to connect you with that I feel like they'd really be interested in what you're doing. And I was like, hey, dude, let's do it. Let's network. Let's do what we do.
For a minute, for a split second, I thought about putting costumes on today for our show, but
yeah, I mean, I kind of did a little bit. I've got my gypsy earrings in here. Yeah, my little gypsy earrings. That's gonna be part of my costume. It's gonna be part of my costume on during the Viking party. So, yeah. I was thinking about. I have this. I don't have it with me, but I have a redneck beard attached to a trucker hat that I was gonna put that on. I was like, I ain't gonna worry about that. What'd you dress up like for last night at the party, man?
So my girlfriend's Caucasian, and since I'm Indian, we thought we would try to do something fun, and we
okay.
Cowboy and Indian. So I got the cowboy hat and the chaps and the holster and the gun and all the whole 9 yards, and she got this little Indian outfit with a great wig. I mean, she really looks like a Native American. It was a lot of fun. A lot of people are coming up to us saying, "You guys are so cute together." So, yeah, I actually wanted to pull it off, maybe do like whiteface, and really be a white cowboy. But my daughter's like, "Listen, Dad, you're gonna get canceled. That's way too much. That's way too much." And then another girl at work, she has said, "Well, I told her I was going as a cowboy." She goes, "Well, I have a horse, a wooden one." I'm like, "Oh, I would love it." She goes, "The only thing is, it's a unicorn and it has rainbow colors on it." So I'm thinking, well, listen, I could do transgender cowboy. And I told my daughter that. She's like, "Dad,
oh my God,
you're really asking for it, aren't you?" These kids nowadays, everything you say and do is held against you, man. It's so crazy. We have this conversation all the time with my teenage kids. When I grew up, I'm 50 years old, right? When we grew up and we went to school, the kids who were special needs rode the short bus. That was what they did. And the word wasn't that offensive back then. So when I say that, oh my kids go crazy. They're like, "Dad, you can't say that. You can't do that." I don't know if you're a fan of Dave Chappelle.
Huge fan.
Okay. So
until he released that terrible special where he was so mean to everyone.
I know. Poor baby. The community's calling him transphobic. Have you watched the special? Have you watched any of his stuff?
It's very good. First of all, it's absolutely hilarious. He makes fun of everybody. And he also talks about how he had a very intimate, close friendship with a transgender woman.
Right. So I took my girlfriend to see Chappelle live a few months ago up in Connecticut, Foxwoods.
Was that the tour that he's on with Joe Rogan and Jeff Ross and all them?
Right. But so he and Rogan announced back in early spring, early summer, they were going to just do a few shows in New Orleans, I think, in Vegas. And then Chappelle decided he's going to add a few more dates to it. And he added a few East Coast dates up in Connecticut. So when I heard that, I'm like, God, I got to go. So at that point, it was just Chappelle with the opener is a guy named Donnell Rawlings. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Okay, so the guy, when you hear the theme song of the Chappelle Show, and you hear the guy in the background going, "I'm rich, biatch," that's Donnell
Yeah.
Rawlings. Well, he opened
Donnell,
for
yeah.
Chappelle when we saw him, and he's hysterical in his own right. I mean, the guy is he's
He
great.
is. He's super vulgar too. He cusses a lot. I like him.
Yeah, yeah. So when we saw Chappelle on this tour in the East Coast, Northeast, it was just Donnell and Chappelle. But I know I see he's doing stuff with Rogan and Jeff Ross and some other guys, which it's probably going to end soon because he only announced a few dates. But most of the show that we had seen, he was trying out material for this new Netflix special that's just dropped a few weeks ago. So I heard a lot of that material already when we saw it on Netflix and loved it. I mean, I still love everything he does. So, but why the community is so up in arms is beyond me, man. It just, people are just too sensitive today. They need to lighten up and just, appreciate laughter and just take a joke. I mean, he makes fun of everybody. No one's spared.
Yeah, he makes fun of everybody. Everybody.
Yeah, he tells
makes
you.
Makes fun of himself. It's a comedian. Like, it's even really silly to even have a debate about this at all. No, I'm not saying specifically with you, but I mean just in general, because he's a f***ing comedian. He's telling jokes. Ha ha, hoo ha ha ha. Like, that's it, right? He's not like, there's no verbal violence going on. He's not telling, he's making funny jokes. He's not like inciting someone to go kill somebody or beat somebody up, somebody over. He's making silly jokes.
Right.
I mean, I see things very simply.
Yeah, but somehow the community translated that or interpreted his jokes as transphobic and inciting violence against the community. I don't get any of that. I've seen all his specials. So, I don't know.
Honestly, man, I think it's genius. Like a lot of people know that if they touch those subjects, that you're going to get a lot of flack. But here's the thing. He's getting a lot of media attention right now. That's what people aren't thinking about, right? If they really wanted to hurt Dave, then they wouldn't say anything. Right now, they're just giving him gasoline. They're giving him free gasoline for him to drive around on, unlimitedly.
Yep.
And that's what's happening, right? If you can't be famous, you be infamous. But either way, attention is on you. Somebody's pumping energy into you, and that's what's happening. Yeah. This is that simple. It's literally that simple. I mean,
well, he
said stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you.
Have you seen that special he did on Netflix, Sticks and Stones, where he starts?
Yeah.
That's where he first starts talking about the alphabet people, and then like alphabet people. What are you talking about? The people who stole 20% of our alphabet, the LGBTQ. and then
he made fun of he did a very terrible impersonation of a Chinese person, and I took offense to that because I am of Eastern Asian heritage, ladies and gentlemen. I took major offense to that. Like I filed for bankruptcy. I left. I let my house foreclose. I just started living on the streets because he said that, because that offended me because I'm part Asian, and he made jokes. I don't give a. His wife is Asian. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, his wife is Filipino.
Exactly.
A lot of people, he made that joke, and his wife doesn't even like the joke, but he still makes it either way. And his wife is Asian. How about that?
She said, "Babe, I don't like you using that voice," and he said he doesn't use it. And once they're in a big fight, then he'll pull it out.
I guarantee you, if I ever become a stand-up comic, that's going to be my main shtick, is doing like Asian stereotypes, obviously, because my mom is very Asian. Very Asian. Micho, baby, you eat some more rice. Like, she's that. And I can do it all day, right? Because I'm part Asian, and so it doesn't matter. I'm safe, right?
So
is that how it goes?
All day long, and it's okay.
There you go. There you go, Doc. That's the ticket.
I do quite a bit. At work, I do my impersonation of Indian people quite often. The girl's funny.
So, for anybody listening to the first time and they don't know of you, because we've just been shooting the breeze, which is what we do on the show. We do whatever we want on the show. It's the Wrestling Diaries, right?
Right.
I do whatever I want. Listen to that and really, take a hold of what I'm saying here, people. But to give a quick discography on you, you are a GI doctor who lives in Pennsylvania. You are also a huge cannabis advocate for medical purposes and for recreational purposes. You're a huge cannabis supporter.
Right.
Let's go into that a little bit. Let's give everybody a debriefing for people that didn't watch your first episode, because this is your second visit to the Wrestling Diaries. So
right.
Just tell people a little background on you, if you would, please, sir.
Yeah. So I am a board certified gastroenterologist. I've been in practice now, going on 16 years. And over the years, I've always felt that there's more of a need for a holistic approach to treating our patients. And most of what I treat is irritable bowel syndrome. And
let me stop you right there real quick, Doc. Just for people listening that are wondering, what does he mean, holistic approach? What is that? Define that for people.
Yeah. So standard medicine is, you as a patient come to see me, you'll describe your symptoms and I'll prescribe a medication and try to put a Band-Aid on the problem. That's not necessarily the approach I like to take when I see patients. I think it's more of a bigger picture. So when I see a patient in the office, I really dig deep on what their life's all about, what kind of relationships they have with their spouses or their kids or their employer, that kind of thing. I want to get a sense if there's anxiety, depression, that kind of thing, because it plays a role in how, when you come to my office and how you manifest your symptoms, whether it's abdominal pain or diarrhea. And it's just not a simple fix of, here's a magic pill, take this, you're going to be better. I like to try to uncover what is the real root cause or the etiology of their symptoms. And as I start digging, I'll uncover things like past abuse, as a childhood traumas, that kind of thing. And a lot of times I send them off to see therapists, psychologists, and people that can maybe prescribe some type of antidepressant or anxiety medication. But there's more to it than just, here's a symptom, let's treat it. So I try to take a bigger approach in treating my patients. So irritable bowel syndrome is something I see a lot of. I would say 50 to 60% of my practice is that. And it's usually young women. And they have issues like gas and bloating, diarrhea, or constipation, pain. And a lot of times it's not just the GI tract, it's something else going on. And I like to dig deep and then try to figure that out. 15% of the world suffer from IBS, and there's really no effective treatment or cause. We really don't know what causes IBS. So that kind of led me down the path of, I'm more of what's called one of the gurus I met in cannabis. His name is Dr. Dustin Sulak. He's based out of Maine. I was at a conference in Baltimore just last month, one of the big meetings, cannabis conferences. And we talked, and he was like, a cannabis-informed gastroenterologist like you is in great need. You need to push forward on what you're doing. And I kind of talked about this in my first episode with you. Again, we're not really sure what causes IBS, and it's a challenge for me to treat. And kind of how I started in cannabis. Well, besides recreational use back in college, back in the day, I went to med school in Los Angeles, and in 1996 is when I started, and that's when cannabis was first legalized for medical use. And one of my mentors, his wife at the time, she had a diagnosis of breast cancer and undergoing treatment with chemotherapy, and had terrible side effects, and nothing was working for her. And we had recommended trying some cannabis, seeing what it could do for her. It changed her life. She's doing great today. She's in remission. So my years in med school in Los Angeles, I kind of followed what cannabis was doing as a medicine. It has been used as medicine for over 5,000 years. And then I went back home to Baltimore to do my residency. And again, just kind of watched what it was doing for patients. Although it's not legalized in Maryland, it's still in the black market, still very popular. And in Baltimore, the inner city, black population, they suffer from sickle cell anemia, and sickle cell crisis is a big reason to have a lot of chronic pain. And nothing was working for them except for cannabis. Well, it didn't matter if it was black market marijuana, weed off the street, it was still working for them. So I kind of followed it through my residency. And then I moved to Texas and I did my fellowship in gastroenterology in Houston at the world's largest medical center. And part of that is MD Anderson Cancer Center. And I saw how it was being used for kids with cancer. And I thought, then I started practicing in Pennsylvania in 2006. And I always said, if it ever became legalized in PA, I'm going to be an advocate and try to be part of the movement. So still working on that part of it, but because now we do have product in Pennsylvania, I teach my patients every day about it, the medical uses, the benefits, the side effects they can expect, how they go about getting certified, and where they can go get product. And I'm seeing tremendous results with these patients. So I'm still working on some things. There are some reasons why I haven't been able to push forward yet, but it's been a year since I've been on the show, and still educating myself because there's still a lot to learn about cannabis and how it treats not just GI conditions, but the entire body overall. And hopefully soon I'll be able to launch something.
That's amazing, man. That is absolutely amazing. You're very like I've met a lot of. I used to work for a doctor, right? He was an alternative. He was a holistic doctor. Like he used traditional medical practices though as well. He integrative medicine is what it was called. But so I got the pleasure of meeting a lot of doctors, and obviously I've known a lot of doctors personally. Me going to an MD and stuff, and you're just you have a very unique approach to the way that you specifically practice. Because you use obviously your traditional education that you've learned and all that stuff, your accolades with that, but then you have like an outside the box view of how to approach someone's health, and that's very interesting. There's not a lot of typical MDs that I know personally. I mean, there is. I don't really know the industry, but I'm just saying, me personally, there's not a lot of MDs that I know that would like kind of venture outside of this bubble. Like they went to university, they've learned traditional medicine and all that, which is awesome, and it saved people's lives, and it's good to have them. But they don't veer out. They don't veer into left field with other like that. And you, I mean, you're still learning, and that's amazing. It's you're a master of your craft, I feel like. And when I say that, I mean a true master is somebody who keep the books open, they keep their mind open, they keep working things to make things better. And that's amazing, dude. God bless you for that.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah. So traditional medicine doesn't heal everybody and fix everybody. So that's why I try to take more of an integrative, holistic approach. And I think outside the box. And there's more and more research of showing that not just THC or CBD, which are cannabinoids in the marijuana plant, in patients that have irritable bowel syndrome, there's a deficiency in those cannabinoids. So if you replace them, they get better. And so there's actually scientific evidence and a scientific basis that shows and demonstrates that the use of cannabis as medicine for IBS and other conditions that we don't know what causes, like fibromyalgia. Another common diagnosis of chronic pain, and we don't know what really causes it, but those patients respond to cannabis. Migraine headaches is another one. So there's a lot of good, but we need more research. And what we're taught in med school, we don't know anything. They don't teach us anything about cannabis or the endocannabinoid system. This is relatively new research. I mean, the endocannabinoid system was only discovered and really defined in the early 1990s. So a lot of, when you say a lot of docs don't veer outside the box, is because they don't know. It comes down to being ignorant, basically, and on this plant. And that's why I've taken courses. I'm certified now in the science and medicine of cannabis. Through the University of Vermont School of Medicine, I took a class. And every conference, every convention, every summit I can attend, I go to. and just kind of learn more and more, because every day there's more and more research showing that how great this plant really is as medicine. And if you're not able to get better with traditional medicine, there's probably a reason to try something else. So that's kind of where I come into play.
Sure.
So one of the gurus in cannabis, when he said, you as a cannabis informed gastroenterologist, there's no one doing that. He goes, the world, is your oyster. If you, take the bull by the horns and go with this. This is beautiful what you're doing. So
yeah,
I have
I agree with him 1,000%.
And I've helped a lot of patients get off opioids. That's my major. I would say my biggest goal is trying to get patients off pain pills. And I've been able to get a lot of patients off Oxy and Vicodin with just using cannabis. So I'm really pleased with that part of my practice. So, but again, I'm in a private practice with 5 other partners, and I'm the only one who believes in cannabis as medicine. The rest of them still think it's a gateway drug. Old school thinking. But the problem is, in Pennsylvania, we have hundreds of thousands of patients on medical marijuana. So you're going to have a patient or 2 or 10 that come to see you that's on their medication list now. And my partners really don't know what to do with it. So they refer those patients to me. They're like, go see Rengen, he'll take care of you. Maybe they don't always like it, but they'll refer their patients to me so I can talk about the actual benefits and side effects and drug-to-drug interactions and what they can expect from it. So, yeah, so I'm creating a little niche here, which is pretty awesome and very rewarding. Yeah, very rewarding, I gotta say. So,
yeah, another thing I really adore about you specifically too is that you don't worry about like any flack that you would get for saying these things. Because I imagine like some of this stuff could be a little controversial,
sure.
For you saying this stuff, and like other doctors like, what the F is this GI doctor doing? What is he saying this? This is ridiculous. And like you don't worry about that stuff. I mean, have you ever like worried about like any kind of flack from the traditional medical community that you are absolutely well in? And just real quick, I need to say this too, because I don't want people to think when they're listening, if someone's listening to this, I don't want people to think I'm against the medical community and I'm just some hippie and he's this weird hippie doctor. That's not what I'm saying. Like the regular medical community is very important, but there should be other options, I believe, absolutely.
Right.
But do you ever like worry about like any kind of flack or blowback you're going to get from saying these kind of things? Because I imagine they're at least semi-controversial.
It's very controversial because the problem with cannabis, although it has been used for medicine for 5,000 years, it's still Schedule 1. So it's still in the category with heroin and LSD. And what that means by definition, according to the DEA, there's no proven medical benefit and highly addictive potential and abuse potential. So yeah, I go out on a limb all the time when I talk about cannabis, and that's why. How do I fight that backlash? I fight it with science and data, and I want scientific evidence to back up what my claims are, what I'm seeing with my patients. So, because they don't teach us this stuff in med school, unless you seek it out, you're not gonna learn about it. And I've seen the wonders of cannabis, what it's done for so many family, friends, and patients. Why not promote it? And why not, create a larger voice and advocacy for it? So I do. Is there some backlash? Oh yeah, I get comments, this and that, call me pot doc or whatever. But the bottom line is I have to see these patients every day, and I have to go to sleep at night thinking, did I do my community a service? And when patients come in and are not doing well, I take that home. I take that shit home, man. I fight at night. I don't sleep. I stress about it. I'm like, what else could I have done for this patient today? So maybe a lot of guys are not like that, but I am. So I'm trying to figure out ways of treating my patients the best way I can.
Yeah. Dr. Hunter Patch Adams said that a doctor's number one priority over everything else is to improve the quality of life of the individual being treated. And
Right.
so, yeah, I feel like that you understand that definition just naturally, you know.
Yeah.
God, I wish there was more doctors out there like you. No ill will towards regular doctors that aren't pursuing extra stuff. But yeah, I wish there was more people like. That's why, yeah. If you at some point, whenever you can get into what you're trying to do, that would be great because you can also open up this doorway to other doctors like you that maybe haven't thought about these kind of things, and open their eyes and be like, oh, this is a way for me to extend my way of helping improve the quality of life of my patients.
Right.
And that's I'm just saying this is in my opinion. I don't know. Like, I'm not a professional. This is your doctor. These other people, like, but I'm just saying this is how I feel about it.
Right. Well, that's how we got to know each other through the London Real Academy. When I joined that academy, that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to create some course or content to teach and educate not just patients but providers, healthcare providers, whether it's doctors or physician assistants or nurse practitioners, on what cannabis is and how to use it the right way. Yeah, so I'm still pursuing those. It's just kind of under wraps right now. We just
Yeah.
and there's the personal
And for
reason
anybody,
why I can't launch right now. But I mean, I'm sure we'll get into things that I'm wrestling with. That's part of it.
Sure.
But
Yeah, for people wondering, he just said London Real. So me and Dr. Rengen here, we met in this thing called London Real Academy, which is basically, in a nutshell, just summarizing, it's kind of like an internet, pseudo business school to teach you how to, learn how to do digital business and become a digital internet entrepreneur. And we were in that together, and we met each other, and we kind of became pals, and that's how we know each other. You earlier before the show started, you were telling me about a story. There was another individual who was also in that academy. He wasn't in our specific class. He was in a different class or team rather.
yeah.
And his name was Lee Chapman, and he does like the law of attraction, believe it and it will be stuff. And you said you had an encounter with this gentleman in Mexico. So let's hear the story right now, Doc.
Oh man. So if nothing else, and London Real Academy has allowed us to form and forge some friendships along the way. So in our team,
Yes.
I met Mitchell, one of our buddies down in Tampa, in the Tampa area in Florida. Jeff and I still talk just about every day. I've gone
Nice.
down and
Shout out, Jeff. You don't talk to me. You don't like me.
no,
I don't know why, man. It's because I'm not a doctor, Jeff. That's why.
He's like my big brother. He gives me a lot of good sound advice.
He's a smart guy. He's a wise guy.
Yes, absolutely.
Wise guy. He's very wise. Yes.
One of the guys you had on the show not too long ago, Lucy. I met him in Pennsylvania. He was coming from New York and New Jersey. So we met a handful of people along the way, but when I celebrated my 50th birthday, I decided to go to a resort in Riviera Maya. And just north of Riviera Maya is a place called Playa del Carmen. And it just so happens Lee Chapman, another gentleman from our London Real Academy, was making his way to the U.S. from London and got held up there because of COVID. So set up shop in Mexico for several months. And when I was on vacation, we hooked up. We went down to the Mayan ruins, my girlfriend and I, and we walked through the ruins. We shopped a little bit, and then Lee jumped in his car, came down and picked us up, and took us from Tulum to Playa del Carmen, and we had tequila and drinks and dinner. And it was we just had a really, really awesome time. But it was so amazing to meet someone through the academy that was just across the world.
At random, right? Because like it's not, you guys didn't orchestrate this meeting. You just met him at random.
Not at all. We kept in touch through the academy, and after the academy ended, we would Facebook message, and he was doing some of the work with my cannabis project too. So we kept in touch that way. And then, yeah, he ended up in Mexico for a short period of time. And it just happens we were there, so we got to hook up and hang out for an evening. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, good man.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's so cool. We still need to meet each other, man. We talked about how we potentially would be the first people to meet each other because we were such great pals.
right.
We still haven't, man.
Everyone in the academy thought that too in our team. But who ended up meeting first? It was
I know.
Daria and Dunya, right?
Daria and Dunya, yeah. And then after, it was me and Jeff Wright. I drove 8 hours to go see that son of a bitch. It was wonderful. Jeff Wright is excellent. He's hilarious. He's fun. He's also exquisitely hospitable. He paid for my meals and all that stuff, and I didn't expect any of that stuff. We went out for drinks. We talked about life, and just he's a great guy, man. He really is. Like I make jokes and stuff only because he's my pal. We haven't talked in a little bit, but yeah, he's a great guy. Very generous guy. His wife Elvira, also very sweet. They put me up in a nice room, and yeah, I had a blast. I stayed with them for just a night, just one day, and it was so much fun.
Yeah, when I went to visit him last November, he took me to a Cars and Couture event in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, he told me a little bit about this.
Yeah, Black Tie Affair.
You rascal, you rascal.
That was a lot of fun too. Oh man, I
bet. Did you buy any fancy cars while you're down there? You get a Lambo or another Porsche, man?
Not only cars, they had helicopters there too.
Word.
Yeah. And there was a fashion show, so there was there were, I don't know, 15, 20 models doing their thing. So it was a good time. And Jeff comped tickets for that event, and I probably stayed 2-3 nights with him in his place, and we just we had a ball down there. So he keeps asking me to come back down. I probably should, just to recharge my batteries, to say the least.
Yeah. So definitely. I feel like Jeff probably would be the best for this, since he's like the fatherly figure of the group. He's the wisest. He should host some big party, and we should all of us, Team Billhorn at least, should just go down there, man. We can all meet each other, have some drinks, tell some stories, have a good time.
Yeah. So he was
Jeff. If you listen to this, do that.
I'm sure he will. So Jeff was part of the inner circle of London Real Academy, and he introduced me to a woman. Her name is Marie, who wasn't part of our team Billhorn, but was in the academy.
I know who you're talking about.
And she's a
Marie Lucier.
Yes, yeah. So Jeff said, you know what? I think you would hit it off with her, because she's doing some things along the lines of what you're doing with cannabis and mental health. And so he put us in touch, and she's from Canada, from a small town called Mississauga, where my mom's little sister lives. And she asked me where I lived. I said, I live in Pennsylvania. She goes, whereabouts? I said, a small town called Mechanicsburg. She goes, oh my God, I have family there. Sisters and in-laws. And so she came. She lives in Carolina now, North Carolina. She came and visited several months ago, and she came and stayed with me. We had dinner together.
Nice.
We had drinks out back in the fire pit, and we had a great time, and we still keep in touch. Sadly to say, she was just down on vacation in Florida last 2 weeks ago, and her husband died suddenly from a heart attack. Yeah. So she told me just yesterday she's planning on coming to Pennsylvania for Thanksgiving. I said, well, I'm in town. Let's get together and catch up. So so London Real Academy connected a lot of people, a lot of lives.
It really did. The best thing that I got out of it is friendships, connecting to people from all around. Like, you live in Pennsylvania, but I've also, Connery and Daria and Dunya, I consider them my pals, my friends. I've never seen them, I've never touched their skin, but we're connected, and it's amazing. And that's what I got from London Real, and then that's wonderful. You can't put a price tag on that. We didn't all become millionaires and make all this shit that we thought we were going to do or were promised and all this stuff. But we made human connection with people that we did not know existed. I didn't know you existed. So therefore I didn't care about you or who you are. I didn't know you. but I know you now. I know you, and I know Jeff, and I know Lucifer, and I know Daria and Dunya, and like all these people. And that's really, that right there is very valuable to me. I can't speak for anybody else, obviously, but for me, very valuable. There's no weight in gold for that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah. You've said that before too, so I'm really just piggybacking on things that you've said about that concept, and it's wonderful, man. It's powerful. That's I mean, this is why I do this fucking podcast, to connect with people, right? It's a wonderful medium to connect people when we're living in a world that is trying, like, that's so divisive and so divided. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm trying to be the catalyst for unity, as cheesy as that sounds. I don't care. It sounds cheesy, but it's true. This is what I'm doing this bullshit for.
Yeah.
So.
And it works. It's working. So we're still connected after a year. We haven't talked in a while. And here we are.
I know.
Halloween of 20.
Yeah. When I texted you and I was like, Doc, is this still you? And you're like, I'm a janitor now, ass. I laughed so hard at that, dude. I was driving when I read that. I was like, oh, I don't even be looking at this right now. I'm laughing. I'm driving. I'm breaking the rules right now.
Said, Doc, is this you? I said, no, ass janitor. Leave me alone. Stop texting me like that. So right away,
what's funny is, like, other people would have been like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But I knew that was you. It just smelled like you. And I was like, that's that son of a bitch trying to mess with me. I know it. Good old Doc. That's awesome, man. I'm so glad that we could reconnect a little bit and you could come back on the show. That's another thing I love about the show too, is I use it as a platform to reconnect with friends, right? I use it for my own full selfish personal gain, which is this. And I don't mind. Do you mind? I don't mind.
Not at all, man. Not at all.
All right, Doc. So let's get a little deep if we can. You know, the last time that you were on the show, I asked you what you were wrestling with and stuff, and you were dealing with a divorce, romance issues, stuff like that, trying to be a good role model and sunshine to your children who are up and coming and growing every day.
Right.
What is it that you wrestle with now? Is it the same, some of the same stuff? Do you have any more, newer monsters that are trying to blast out of your closet and claw at your ankles?
Yeah.
What's that look like, man?
Oh, man. So I was referencing why I couldn't launch my cannabis project. And that was at the advice of my attorney. So again, my divorce has been dragging on for a while now. It took a whole personality of its own this year. It got a little ugly. And every time I want to move forward with my project, my attorney's like, listen, if you want to give her, some of this, then go ahead. But why don't you just wait till it's finalized and then you can launch? So that's kind of what why I've been holding off.
Yeah.
The struggle is, oh man, there are so many dynamics now that are involved, because I thought we were in a better place, my ex and I met someone earlier this year, and she's just an amazing woman, and it's almost like we're soulmates. I mean, she's a little younger, but and she has 2 little girls, and we're trying to make that work. Our relationship is unbelievable, but she has an ex-husband that she's dealing with, and his bull, and I have my ex and her bull I'm dealing with, and then the kids and all the family dynamics. So it's yeah, that's kind of why I've been under the radar and kind of been keeping a low profile on things. It's been quite a struggle, let me tell you, man. You talk about wrestling. When I first met my girlfriend, her ex-husband had the kids. It wasn't 50-50. He had the kids on Mondays and Tuesdays. And it just so happens I didn't have my kids those nights too. So it was that was our weekend, Monday and Tuesday. So that's when we would make plans to do dinner and drinks and movies and whatever, just kind of hang out.
Yeah.
But her ex-husband just wasn't able to fulfill his responsibilities as a dad and get the girls to school on time, or fed or bathed They were going to school disheveled and falling asleep, and a lot of complaints from the school, from the teachers. So my girlfriend decided she was going to take him back to court, and try to get more custody. And
Yeah.
by doing so, she got the kids now every school night, because she's the responsible party that's going to get them to school on time and so forth. But that took away from our time together. And we're building something pretty amazing together. When we're together and there are no outside forces, it's dynamite. It's the best relationship I've ever had, and I think she would say the same. And we've posted, I think, 1 or 2 pictures from our trip in Mexico. You can just see the smile that she has. It's just, she lights up a room when she's there. She's just a sweet, good-hearted person, great mother. Not to mention she's beautiful too, so that helps. And she's smart, and she's the whole package. She has it all going on. So we struggle a lot when we have disagreements. It's because we're fighting for more time together, and that's been the bulk of our disagreements or causes of tension in the last few months. It's because of that. Trying to figure out when I don't have my kids, and when she can not have her kids, and maybe we can figure out a time to do something overnight, or go to a show or something like that. So, and just recently my kids met her kids, and there's a substantial age gap. It's about 10 years. But trying to make that work. And I know my kids are, still a little kind of reluctant to jump in and say, okay, we're going to accept these kids as our siblings too. So we struggle with those dynamics for sure.
Okay.
Quite a bit of stress, but we're making it happen. We went to a Halloween party last night together. Her parents watched her kids, and we're going to see Stone Temple Pilots. I don't know if you remember the band from the 90s, the grunge band.
Dude, I got a T-shirt, man.
Yeah. So do I.
I saw them when Scott Weiland was still alive. Yes.
Well, I saw Scott Weiland 8 times. I saw him.
Oh, well, excuse me, Dr. Mohan.
That's what a fan I am of their music. I really did like Scott Weiland. I saw them in Hollywood when I was in med school in California. But one of the best shows I had ever seen, they played the Voodoo Fest in New Orleans to 200,000 people. And they co-headlined with the Beastie Boys. And
okay. Nice.
Kid Rock and Green Day. It was over 2 nights, and it was just an incredible weekend of music. And I always loved Scott Weiland. And they're playing locally here in Harrisburg, which is 10 minutes from my house. So I said, let's grab tickets. Although it's a new lead singer, and he's actually pretty good. He's the former frontman of a band called Dry Cell. I don't know if you know music.
I have not.
Dry Cell. His name is Jeff Gutt.
Yeah, I haven't heard.
He has that growl to him, like Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. So and they've made 2 albums with him. STP has made 2 albums with this new lead singer. So we're going to do that Wednesday night. My girlfriend was one of the top performers in her firm, and she won a trip to Atlantic City. So we're doing that next weekend.
What's her firm? What is it? She's an attorney?
She's a financial advisor in her company, Northwestern Mutual. So they incentivize their employees, and if you do well, you get rewarded. So she won a trip to Atlantic City. So we're gonna. You remember the artist Daughtry from American Idol?
Yes.
He's playing at the Borgata in Atlantic City on Friday. So we'll probably go see him play.
Okay.
And
that's
then
fantastic, Doc.
Yeah. And on our way back from Atlantic City, we're going to stop in Philly and try to take in the Van Gogh experience. It's a traveling tour of Van Gogh's pieces, eight pieces. It's a 360-degree experience. You're just like totally immersed in his paintings.
I love that. Right now, they're working on a Van Gogh museum. I think it is interactive museum here in Birmingham, in Alabama. So I can't wait till that opens up. I am all over that.
Yeah. So
Love Van Gogh.
we're going to do that. So we still, although we argue that we're not getting enough time together, we still we make it work. I took her to see Bruno Mars for her birthday. That was a complete surprise. Okay. He's playing right now. He's doing a residency in Vegas at the MGM Park. Well, he took 2 nights out of his tour. He decided to come to DC. So I was able to round up a pair of tickets and try to keep it as a surprise as long as I could. And I did. I was able to, I almost pulled it off till we get to the box office where I was meeting a guy I was buying, who I bought the tickets from. And usually at a casino, the valet is it's included. Just it's free. Just park and go lose your money in the casino. So when I pulled in front of the casino to go into the box office, the valet guy goes, "That'll be $50 for valet tonight." I'm thinking, what? And the look on my face was like, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "Oh, there's a reason why. A special performer in town tonight, Bruno Mars." And I was like, "Are you kidding me, dude?" She had no idea what we were doing. And she looked at me and had this big smile on her face. And she's like, "Is that what we're doing? We're seeing Bruno?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she was, it was one hell of a show. Let me tell you, man. If you haven't seen a guy perform,
one thing I'll say,
that guy's amazing.
Yeah. One thing I'll say, man, is it sucks. I get it because I've been in a similar situation. Obviously not being able to see your significant other as much as you would like is very terrible, and it is something that you can wrestle with. And I imagine, obviously, from everything you've said, you're struggling with that, and she is too as well. But also, the time that you do get to spend with her, it just makes it more sweeter because the time frame is narrowed, right? Sure. So each kiss tastes sweeter, each laugh is louder, each hug is harder. And it just makes you cherish it more. And so, and eventually I feel like, things will open up and you both get what you want out of that romantically. What's her name? Your girlfriend, if you don't mind sharing?
No. Chrissy.
Chrissy, when you listen to this episode, everything he said about you, this is the perfect definition of a man who's in love. And also, all the sweet things he said and done for you, make sure you give Doc Mo a lot of sugar. And that's a Southern euphemism for kissing. Give him lots of sugar, honey. Lots of sugar.
She returns it tenfold as well. So when you had talked about it's Halloween, let's have a toast, what's my drink of choice? And I said, I like bourbon. I'm a big fan of Blanton's. And I actually brought the bottle out to share with you.
Oh, nice.
So they have these horses you collect, or 8 of them. And each one spells out Blanton's, right? This letter is N. Well, she got this bottle for me. You can't even find Blanton's even in Kentucky. I mean, it's just so hard to find.
Okay.
She got this for me for Father's Day. And it says here, the bourbon whiskey was dumped on the day we met from barrel number 401, stored in warehouse H. How the hell she found this and she knew I needed this letter? It's beyond me. But so when you said,
how much does a bottle like that usually run for?
If they're not raising the prices on Blanton's, because you can get a bottle for like $200, 60 or 70. But you can't find it.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's not as much as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. So she,
that's amazing.
When you said, let's have a drink, and I said, well, I'm going to do bourbon. I haven't opened this bottle yet. I'm waiting for a special occasion. So, it's just kind of
excellent
looking at me. So I still
looks
need
good.
2 more letters.
It looks fancy
to round out the collection. So
nice. Yeah. Doc, since I've been doing the show, I've kind of evolved some of the way I talk to people and some of the questions I ask. I ask people what they wrestle with, and they talk about it, and we kind of divulge what their issues are, and then even sometimes they kind of look back on it. They can figure out ways to tinker to correcting it or defeating it or whatever it is, uniquely, right? Individually.
Yeah.
I have another question that I ask people that live their lives now, and they live their life the way they do. And I say to them, what if we were working on a machine, a telephone time machine, and you could pick it up and you could dial yourself in the past at any point, any point you want, right? This machine has the date and time and everything on it. Like the DeLorean that has like the date and time and second and all that. What if we let you borrow this telephone time machine and you could call Mohan Rengen in the past? Let's say it's a Mo that needs your advice from the future, right? You're the older, more mature, wiser Mo, and you're calling a younger version of yourself. Which Mo do you call that needs that phone call from you in the future? And what do you say to him, Doc?
Oh man. So
You like that question?
Oh, it's a good one. Yeah. And I think about this kind of stuff a lot because ever since COVID hit, and I think COVID was the best thing that ever happened in my life. Because this right about a month or two before COVID is when I got separated, and I was in a really dark place. Um, and I was just like, wow, the most important thing to me in my life is my family, and it's gone now. It's totally broken. Um, what do I? How do I rebound? How do I pick myself up? And that's when I found this cannabis course that I started doing, and then London Real Academy, met all you guys, and started doing a lot more work on me and mindfulness and meditation. And I still do my daily meditations and affirmations. I'm a different
Nice.
person than I was even last year when we met. I've grown up a
Yeah.
lot. I try to live life and try to enjoy each day because tomorrow's not promised. I mean, look, Marie's husband, they were on vacation.
Right.
Boom, gone. The guy's only a few years older than me.
Yeah.
So he's a
Yeah.
great guy too. So what would I tell myself? And a lot of times I see that on my mindfulness and different Instagram accounts that I follow, entrepreneurs and stuff, and they say, "What would you tell yourself going back 20 years?" Oh man, I would say marry wise, marry the right person, because they really do account for 90% plus of your happiness. Um, I got the advice I got going through all my training, and was almost like military. My mentors always said, "Happy wife, happy life." And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, man. I think you need to you have to work on you, and
Mm-hmm.
you make yourself happy. And once you do that, you find somebody else who has that happiness and that love that you can then share together. So if I can go back in time, I would work on me more. I think more mental health, um, things that they don't teach you in school. They don't stress it. It's not important. But now you see how important mental health really is. Um, Speak up for yourself. Um, and really don't care what people think. I mean, Jeff's prime example. He can give two what anyone thinks, but what he's doing and how he lives life. He lives life. He doesn't give a.
Agreed.
And I think it was a quote from Winston Churchill that said, "In your 20s, you really care what people think about you, and in your 40s, 50s, you start thinking, I really don't care what people think." And in your 70s, you realize they were never thinking about you to begin with. So you
Wow.
go back, if I can go back in time and realize, like so you asked me earlier about my whole cannabis advocacy and in the face of traditional medicine, and how's that going to, especially where I live in a really conservative community. Um, when I first mentioned cannabis, bringing it to our practice, the guys were like, "We don't want those types of people in our practice." I'm like, what does that mean? Those types of people, like prostitutes and drug dealers and homeless, and that was kind of what.
Jesus.
Yeah, well, I was like, no, it's people that need our help. So I don't mind, thinking outside the box anymore, and I really don't give a shit what people think. I just do what I think is important, what's important for my family, my kids, um, and me. So
Nice.
yeah.
That's awesome, man. In finality, I'm going to ask you this: if
Yeah.
you could close your eyes right now, and whatever exquisite, ultimate dream scenario that you play out in your mind, in your brain, in your heart, and you could have it, right? You close your eyes and you open it, and whatever that dream-like scenario, your ultimate dreams for life. And you could open your eyes, and that's what it is. But it's not a dream anymore. It's like reality. What does that world look like to you when you close your eyes and you open it? What are you looking at, Doc?
I think something that we all are looking for, all trying to achieve, individually as well as for a community. I think just a sense of love and peace, and no suffering. Um, that's kind of what we, our time on this earth is very limited. So let's make it count, and do what we can to help other people. And in return, I'll come back to you. That's just kind of the way the universe works. So, but yeah, just no suffering and lots of love and peace.
But what do you want specifically for you? What does your dream look like for your life?
Well, I mean, for me specifically, my kids thriving, happy, um, hopefully not too broken from this divorce. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I see some things that I'm not really happy with, but I take responsibility for a lot of it too. So, but yeah, I want my kids to be happy and healthy, and family and friends, and just live life, man, and laugh a lot, smile more. So, yeah, which I've
All
been
right.
doing the last couple of years.
Amen. Amen, brother. That's great. Thank you for being on the show, Dr. Rengen. Mo, thanks for being on the show again, bro.
Thanks for having me,
This was
man.
really good. It was great to catch
Appreciate it.
up with you. It's great to hear all the cool things going on in your life too. And I I want you to know, man. I always I think about you often. This isn't something I'm saying for the show to just make it whatever. Like if it wasn't true, I wouldn't be saying it to you right now. I'm just being 100% honest. That's one thing about me is I can be pretty brutally honest to the point where it makes people uneasy about me. But I'm telling you right now, like I think about you often, not often, but like more so than other people. And I'm always hoping that you're doing well. And then also know that the aspirations that you have for trying to like blow up with this cannabis subject and stuff. I'm always like sending my energy, my hopes, thoughts, prayers, and it's corny, whatever, but I'm sending it your way. I'm always thinking about that. Even if I don't text you all the time or call you and we don't get to do this as often, I really do. Like, cause you're such a down to earth guy. I've met a lot of people, man, through the course, through my ex career that I had, all these things that live life on the high life. They have mansions and they have nice cars and stuff, and there's this certain air about them. And with you as a doctor who has, you're not hurting financially and stuff, you have this very down to earth, simplistic way about you to where it sounds weird to say if somebody talked to you on the street and it meant you were eating a hot dog or something, they wouldn't just assume that you were a doctor because doctors have an air about them, generally speaking. And you don't. You're just like an every guy. And that's why when I met you in London Real, I was like, this guy, he's interesting. He's different. And I respect stuff like that, man. Because one day when I am like sipping off of gold goblets and wearing mink coats, I'm not really going to be doing that. But I'm going to be the same motherfucker guy you see now. Same guy. Like, it's not like I'll still hang out with people that are working at Walmart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about you, Doc. And so, like, I'm always in your corner. I told you this in the first episode. I'm always in your corner. I'm always pulling for you. And when you get to the top, Doc, don't forget about me. You remember that?
Absolutely, man.
But man, I really appreciate you being on the show, bro. I really do. This was a good one. And thanks for sharing that stuff. I appreciate you sharing intimate details about your life and your romance and your kids and your aspirations. That's great. I really appreciate that. I really, really, really do. And yeah, I tip my glass to you, Doc. Tip my glass to you.
I just finished mine.
Is there, before I sign us off, is there anything you want to promote specifically for yourself or anything else like that?
Once I launch something, maybe we get back on the show and we talk more about that.
Oh, 100%. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Much love to you, brother.
Take care, man. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and creatures, I hope you enjoyed this special Halloween episode. It wasn't too Halloweeny. I was actually thinking about talking about some, seeing if you'd share some ghost stories with me, and I'd share some with you, but I completely forgot. We just got into conversation. That's what I love about it too, man. There's no scripts. There's no scripts, and there's no iPad here. These conversations are organic. They happen exactly the way it happened. I might have an idea of what I'm going to say. They might have an idea of what they're going to say, but at the end of the day, what is said is what is said, and it's beautiful all in its own right. And I hope everybody enjoyed this. To check us out, the Wrestling Diaries, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast, and a host of other platforms that have audio streaming podcasts. Leave us a review. It's very important. It helps us show up in more algorithms so our content can be spread amongst the interwebs. Also, to see these beautiful faces, go to YouTube, like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more content. This episode is dedicated to the great, wonderful cannabis plant. No, this episode is dedicated to people that they're struggling in life with the same things that Mo is struggling with. And that's a lot of people. Divorce, broken families, romance that you want to really immerse yourself in, but there's something holding it back. There's so many people out there like that. And how do you face it? Do you just like curl up in a ball, or do you try to do something about it? Like Mo stays active and he doesn't care what people say. He does what he does that makes him happy and tries to be better every day. And are you living life that way? If you're not, I challenge you to do that, to try to be like Dr. Rengen, Dr. Mo Rengen here. And don't care what people say. It doesn't matter what you're doing, who likes you, who doesn't like you. Do what makes you happy and try to make the world a better place than how you found it, ladies and gents. I'm not an expert. These are my opinions. You can agree with them, you can disagree with them, but that doesn't change them and make them any less powerful coming out of my mouth. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks again, Doc. You're a really good friend. I really appreciate you, man. What do you wrestle with, and how can you beat it? One love.